Hi, my name's Mark and I wanted to show you what I've been up to today. I made a gate. I wanted to show you the process from raw material to swinging a gate, how it's been done. So please watch the video and all the bits after this. It'll kind of show you how I made it in my little workshop. Again, it's the same principle, mortise and tenon with feather edge facing. Big chunky hinges. It's quite a wide gate. I needed sort of bigger access just in case to get maybe machinery or something into the other side of this plot of land that I've got. So there it is, basically swinging. I think it turned out pretty good. I've got some cross bracing, because obviously the longer it is, there's a tendency for it to drop this end, and it is pretty heavy. Even though I've got a chunky post there, yeah, there's a lot of weight here. But yeah, I'll show you the other side. So here's the other side. This is the face that we look at. And you just lean over and again, I like to keep it simple, but I think it looks pretty good. If you want to stick around after this, it'll kind of show you the processes of how I done it, as I said. And if you like my videos, please thumbs up, like and subscribe, and you'll see lots more of this kind of stuff. And also when I get down there. Right, thanks for watching. See you on the next video. Cheers, bye. Right, gate building. I've got another gate to build. Got the old measurements here. Let's start getting cutting. I'll show you how I do it. First of all, I get all my timber that I need and cut it out to the size. So I'm firstly cutting my top and bottom rail, and then I'll cut my side rails, or my stiles as they're called. And once I've cut out the basic frame, then I start to carry out the marking. So I mark out for the mortise and tenon joints. So I mark all around the timbers. I use a clamp to obviously hold the two bits together so they're exactly the same. Yeah, I started to look for an old-fashioned, what they call a mortise gauge. I haven't used for quite a while, but the screw section had broken, so I was trying to find an alternative. I eventually found something because it tightens it up and sets the correct size. It makes life easy.
Come on, listen to me. I've tried so many times to tell you this is as good as I can be.
So now I'm just setting up for the exact same size as the bit that's in my router machine, because that gets me the perfectly neat hole that I require. So as you can see, I'm marking my stiles out, and then I'm just using a pencil to highlight the marks so you can see them a bit easier.
And then what I tend to do with mine, because obviously I've got limited tools within my workshop, I tend to use a drill bit to drill out the bulk of the material, because obviously trying to do it all with a router, it tends to burn the bits and it's a lot harder work. So if you clear it out with a correct size auger bit, the trick to drilling these to get a straight hole is you do it halfway, turn the timber over and then do a halfway again, and then what happens is when you're drilling straight through, it will connect the two holes up. That's my tip anyway. So then once I've done the drilling bit, obviously I clamp it down and get the old router, and what the router does is it gets it, neatens the hole up. I tend to use the two styles at the same time because it kind of gives more support, because you imagine it's only the edge of the timber. I mean, if you see most commercial people that do mortise and tenon jointing all the time, they tend to use a mortise machine, which obviously I haven't got, so you just have to use with what you've got available. I mean, I don't really need to invest it. Once I've made a few of my gates, I'm probably not going to do many over the years. So when you're using a router, especially a big powerful one like that, obviously make sure it's well clamped down, because this thing will jump and then it'll ruin your bit of wood and you have to start again if it jumps out. I mean, you have to bear in mind this is not fine joinery, so this is a garden gate as you call it, so you know, rough enough is good enough. So then once I've done the mortar side of it, I start to mark out the tenant side of it, which is the timber that goes into the hole, if you want to put it in a basic term. So I'm marking that out using the same gauge as the ones I done on the timber. The way I cut them is I use my slide chop saw. You set it to the correct depth and then you just run it across, as you can see, taking small bits off at a time. So I'll just, once I've done one, I test it for fit, and then once I'm happy, I'll just carry on cutting out the rest.
girl, now wait just a minute. I've got something to say, you should hear it. Oh, I'm happy to make time for your feelings, but you have to admit I already do. Let's just break it down to you and me uptown, dancing all around till the disco ball pops. But I have to be me, and everyone can see your anger is misplaced. And I'm gonna tell ya, don't hate me 'cause I get attention.
So here you can see that I've cut out the basic frame and then I've done it, put it together as what they call a dry fit, just to check that it looks okay and sizes, everything is what you want it to be. And then I start to mark out the centre rail because it's quite a wide gate, so it needs a bit of extra support. And I use the same process, drilling out the mortise and then cutting the tenons.
Come on, listen to me. I've tried so many times to tell you this is as good as I can be. Why isn't it enough to be faithful and also be the hit of the party? Let's just break it down to you and me uptown, dancing all around till the disco ball pops. But I have to be me, and everyone can see your anger is misplaced. And I'm gonna tell you, don't hate me 'cause I get attention. Don't turn me into what I'm not. I have to be me 24/7, and I ain't never gonna stop. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Never gonna stop. No, 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 no. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. I ain't never gonna stop. No, no. Oh, I ain't never gonna stop. I ain't never gonna stop now, baby. Never gonna stop now, baby. Yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. I ain't never gonna stop now, baby. Never gonna stop now, baby.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.
So there you go. Once again, similar process. I do a dry run, putting it all together before I start gluing it and fitting it for just to, again, to make sure I'm happy with it. Then I put all the corresponding marks to make sure when I put it back together it's all the same.
Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby, have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue
So as you can see here now, I'm putting it all together, gluing all the individual pieces and then hammering them together. I mean, the glue that I'm using, I don't know if you notice, is what they call Gorilla Glue, but what makes this slightly different is it's like a expanding foam glue, so any little imperfections of gaps, because it's outside, I don't want the rain getting into the joints, so I kind of found this was best used. Just as a top tip, if you're trying to close up your joints and you haven't got like long sash cramps, what I've done is I've screwed a scrap piece of wood to the side of one of the joints and then cramped them together, and it works really well. Again, I don't have to worry about screw holes and stuff like that because it's an outside gate. And then what I've done is I've cut up some small wedges and you just hammer them in each side of the mortise and tenon joint, and what that does is it gives it a firm fix, and then wipe off all the excess glue. And then what you do is check for sizes, and then you just cut off all the excess and clean it up, you know, and job done really. You know, you've kind of made your basic frame.
I know you told your friend you're not okay. And tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way.
As you can see, I'm repeating the process for every joint, going round,
But I've known you too long.
making sure it's all perfect.
Blue eyes fade to gray.
No, oh no, no. Hold on, girl, now wait just a minute. I've got something to say, you should hear it. Oh, I'm happy to make time for your feelings, but you have to admit
So once I've done
let's just break it down.
all the joints now, I start concentrating on doing the cross bracing. This is obviously to stop when the gate's in position. Over time there will be some movement because it's a natural product, but this obviously adds support. So what you tend to use is, if you think about the sides that you're hanging it on, that's where you need to get the support down towards the hinges. So if you see the hinge side of it will have the bottom of the brace, but on this one I slightly went a bit over top and belt and braces thing, I done a cross joint support system, which is better than doing. I mean, I could have left it with just the two cross braces, but I thought I'd just be a bit clever and do it.
And I ain't never gonna stop. Come on, listen to me. I've tried so many times to tell you this is as good as I can be. Why isn't it enough to be faithful and also be the hit of the party? Let's just break it down to you and me uptown, dancing all around till the disco ball pops. But I have to be me, and everyone can see your anger is misplaced, and I'm gonna tell you, don't hate me 'cause I get attention. Don't turn me into what I'm not. I have to be me 24/7, and I ain't never gonna stop. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Never gonna stop. No, 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 no. Yeah, 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 yeah. I ain't never gonna stop.
So as you can see, once I've cut the cross braces for size, then I put the gate on the bench, and then I cut out the section that they both meet. So basically I'm using a half lap joint. As you can see, it's a bit of fiddling around, make sure it's right, and I do that for each section until I'm happy, and then I glue and screw it into place.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile.
And there you go, there's the basic construction and the framework to my garden gate using CLS timber, which is a sawn timber that's been sort of smoothed on four sides, which is quite nice to work with, and it's a structural grade timber, so you know it's quite strong. So I've glued and I've screwed and I've wedged all my joints, so I'm just fiddling and making sure everything's right. And then the next process will be to get a coat of wood protection on there. So once I'm happy with the basic structure, like I said, I'm cleaning it all up using my electric plane, and I've got a belt sander. I mean, again, you don't have to do it, but you know, a bit of a perfectionist, so I just like to faff around with things. So I'll get the old belt sander out and give it, well, particularly the side that I see are going over, just to finalise everything.
What's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to.
So there you go, the frame's all completed, and now it's time to get a bit of wood protection. I kind of went for a satin black finish. I think it's a nice contrast from the pre-treated feather edge timber that I'm going to cover it with. I mean, again, there's plenty of colours out there you can use. Obviously grey's quite fashionable, but I thought the black was alright. Basically I got the tin or preserver cheap, so that was another reason.
Let's just break it down to you and me uptown, dancing all around till the disco ball pops. But I have to be me, and everyone can see your anger is misplaced. And I'm gonna tell ya, don't hate me 'cause I get attention. Don't turn me into what I'm not. I have to be me 24/7, and I ain't never gonna stop. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Oh, no, no, no. No, oh, oh, oh. And I ain't never gonna stop. Come on. Listen to me. I've tried so many times to tell you this is as good as I can be. Why isn't it enough to be faithful and also be the hit of the party? Let's just break it down to you and me uptown, dancing all around till the disco ball pops. But I have to be me, and everyone can see your anger is misplaced. And I'm gonna tell you, don't hate me 'cause I get attention. Don't turn me into what I'm not. I have
And there you go. There's the supervisor, just keeping an eye and checking it over. But that's the basics of my frame, all pre-treated, ready for the feather edge to go on top to blend in. And there you go. Now it's dry. Had a cup of tea. I'm back to getting the old feather edge put on. So I'm cutting all the timber to size, and then set it out. And grab yourself a bit of spare scrap straight timber, put it on there. It gives me a guide to work to. You know, it saves a lot of measuring constantly. So I'll just basically make life easy, screw it to the bottom, and just start setting it out. I mean, I tend to use screws most of the time to fix it. I know you can use nails, you can use what they call ring shanks that don't move as much, but over the years, I don't know if you'll notice that nails tend to pop, as they call it, and then the boards become loose. So again, I'm doing a bit of overkill. I'm using what they call decking screws. So I use my nail gun to fix it in place, and then I go over the whole gate with screws. And because screws in their nature have ridges, they tend to move less over the years. So again, it's less maintenance, and you know, it's personal preference. But there you go, just whack away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, 'cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay? Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby, have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no, you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will choose to stay through all the pain.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away.
And there you go. front face section's more or less done. Just putting in the final screws. I'm going to cut out, I guess you'd call it a header strip to protect the ends of the top of the gate, which I'll do at later at stage. I'm just sort of measuring up for the new hinges. And then I'm going to install the new gate hinges, which are banded gate hinges. They're quite long. I think they're about 750mm, so they're quite long, quite hefty. I got them off the internet, quite cheap. I think I'll try and leave the link in the description if anyone's interested. It's quite a good company that I found on eBay. And here you go, you know, hinges on, taking it in there. I'll be honest, I'm sure the sharp-eyed people will spot the error that I've done, and it will probably come to fruition in the end when they notice. I basically, when I filmed myself fitting the gate, I fitted it the wrong size for what I hung it the wrong size. So I didn't film the fact that afterwards I had to take the hinges off and swap them over. But if you're doing this yourself, it's similar principle. I use blocks of wood to lift it up, and then I just use wedges to make sure that the gap on both sides was even. As you can see, probably not the best tool because it's quite a big plot, so I use my shears to wedge the gate. Hey, you got to use what's around you. Survival mode. And there you go, all fitted, all swinging. Simple as that. Just giving it the once over inspection, but I hope you like my video, and I'll try to do more videos of all my little jobs around there. And there you go, with the beautiful sunset in the background. I've got to cut that post off, but I'll do that later. Thanks for watching.